So folks, we're getting ready to do some reconnaissance. So you're going that way because we're going the other way of the trail. We want to just make sure, I don't show this a lot of times, but we'll fly over the trail just to make sure we are safe. In other words, make sure conditions are favorable. So Scott's going to fly the drone down the trail a mile or two and make sure it's doable for what we do for the dogs and us, of course. And I'm walking over there now. Seems like a pretty quiet road as a car comes down, but I'm always looking both ways. Doesn't mean I won't get hit, but we hope not. So it's pretty cool because it's got, here's the trail, Walmart Supercenter. That's an old sign. Walmart must have been here for a while who sponsored this. So it's towpath size. There's a bridge up there. He's going to check that and make sure we're okay. When I say towpath side, like a single track, which is fine because I've got my monster MUSH mobile, which will be able to handle that. As long as it doesn't get any worse, as long as there's nice grass shoulder, as you saw the dogs, I absolutely love it. Now, what you've got to be careful of on conditions like this are fleas, ticks, mainly ticks. Anything can be lurking in there insect-wise. But, of course, the dogs are always kept up to date on all their flea and tick preventative. It's so important, folks, because where we travel and how we travel, that is, I've still gotten some tick-borne diseases that they don't all the flea and ticks don't defend against, so we've got to be careful. We've got what I call the Wolf Driver's Easy Rider cycle out today, basically, our motorcycle kind of bike. This is my Scott's, my co-pilot's, and you can see it's got the capabilities of carrying the mushing bar in case we would get in a predicament where my bike would fail for some reason, which is right here, the Monster MUSH trike. And again, I've designed all these mushing bars to adapt to these commercially available bikes, and they have a lot of other equipment on them. Now the drone's returning. As Scott just did his surveillance of what we're going to talk about, what he saw and how we're going to proceed. But pretty cool stuff. So this looks like the Ronald McDonald bike today. I just make them bright because I want people to see us out there on the trail. What'd you see out there, Scott?
So nothing special. It pretty much it maintains that exact same quality of road for the entire way I could see. I went up as far as I could go and just went out to see as far as the horizon, basically. We're going towards some mountains.
Okay. And, we're going that way.
Oh, we're going that way?
Yeah.
Oh, damn, then I looked the wrong way.
Okay, fly it the other way. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Yeah, true. If that way's good, Crispy says the other way's guaranteed to be good.
Yeah, so, I thought you said look that way first, and then I defaulted this because that's what it looks like.
Yeah, good. I want you to see it. Cool. So it's a little bit behind the scenes. Yeah, so what I was talking about is this is what they call an ad motor bike or trike, if you will. It's really comfortable to ride, and it's great for if I run the dogs here and for also my co-pilot because it's got such a big back where I can put a lot of work.
It only comes with one motor in the front.
But now they make them with the motor in the back.
Do they?
Yeah, they because of course I guinea pigged it. I got one of the first ones, and they were making just a front motor. So with just a front motor, it's a hub motor. It's squirrely. It doesn't get good traction. So we put a motor in the back ourselves. Well, we call it a mid-drive motor. The B-Fang. We added to it aftermarket. That's what we do, customize. That's why Crispy's here. And we actually added that motor to basically make it an all-wheel drive vehicle. So Scott's going to take off because he went the other way, which is always good to know both directions. But this is a 10-miler, and we're going to the left that we think as I'm standing. Scott's going to go back out there and see what he's got. So when I talk about this is basically a hitch receiver. This is an old Husky. We painted it. Brockway hood ornament, like a Mack truck. Brockway was a truck company in the 70s that I think Mack bought, and these were their hood ornaments. Like Mack has their Bulldog ornaments. So yeah, that's why there's extra batteries on here. Now we've adapted this with an Ego battery, which is a power tool battery for high-end equipment, snow blowers, weed whackers, lawnmowers, etc. I think they actually started making their own bikes. Pretty cool stuff. They got a mini bike, yeah, Ego. But we, again, Crispy adapted it to this bike. That's what we do, because it's a common battery. It's 48 volts. It's actually 56 volts, but it can work on a 48 volt system, which means that we can use it on all of our equipment. We're slowly converting everything over, like that green trike, 48 volt, or again, 56 volt, but you have a range you can go in, and that trike is able to handle this battery. And if you see on that trike, now that gets the mushing bar in the front too, you can see the pedal assembly's gone, and the bar just fills in there. We have springers on the back in case I have to take the dogs off for some reason. I can either tether them there and ride, or I can actually just hold them there if we have to go through a tight area. Try to always carry a really powerful headlight. That's LED, and believe it or not, and not bragging or anything here, that's like a $500 headlight. That's you got to be equipped when you come out on these kinds of trails, especially. What are you seeing, Scott?
River, a real nice run. There's about equal amounts of shade as there is sun, so we're gonna have, it looks great.
Does it?
Yeah.
Cool. Bridges look good. No, have you seen a bridge?
No bridges to speak of, but okay. As far as I could go, I'm basically at the max right now. We're gonna be adjacent to a bridge, so I'm betting this trail probably crosses the river.
Okay, just wanted to know if it was graded or anything, and tight gates or anything like that, if you can see any.
So
you want to be able to tell distance on the gate.
No gates so far that I see, but we were going uphill going that direction, so we should more or less be downhill going that direction.
Cool. And are you seeing, so you got plenty of width, correct?
Yeah, so it starts out, the width is all good, but it's also mostly grass.
Okay.
And so kind of like how there's 2 tire treads right there.
Yeah.
There's only 1 tire tread right there for the entire duration.
Yeah.
But it is wide enough, it's just grass.
It's a single track, yeah. Okay. Good. So here comes the mushing bar, what I call the mushing bar, and we put a round pole and a square peg. Again, only in Wolf Driver land can you do that. So because this bike was custom built for me, and we were, at the time we had it built. This one was built off premise. By the time it was built, I was running the dogs when it was built in a different formation. We had a wheel guard essentially that wrapped around it, and I had another generation of Huskies on here, and actually my princess girl used to ride here. We had a wood platform that had a bike seat, specialized actually motorcycle seat, that would tether her in so she couldn't jump out. So when she had her run, she was at the time 13, 14, she kept going even to the 15-year-old. She would actually ride in that seat. And after she did a mile, 2 miles, sometimes 4 or 5 miles. And the other dogs were younger than her, so they would also ride on the specialized bar that wrapped around it. And there's some pictures on my website. I'll try to provide a link to that. But since then, we've totally revamped it. Since I developed this mushing bar, it totally goes inside of the circular part of the frame. The new bikes I try to buy have a square frame. You've seen some of my, what I call electric dog sleds on wheels at this point, and we don't need to adapt the square peg, but the square bar works well for the U-bars that fit on here that you may have seen in some of my other videos, and that's the way I've been running the dogs. By the way, the temperature is like 71, almost no humidity, a really nice breeze. We're in, getting into late June, so this is a real treat to get a day like today. That's what we look for. A lot of research, a lot of the weather apps, and a lot of times you'll have areas like this where you have microclimates. So you just got to kind of drive along the eastern seaboard like we do, headed in a direction of cool weather, and then as you go, start taking in the weather data and the trail availability. And we've never been to this trail before. Again, we'll travel 400 miles plus sometimes and be back the same day or within a 24-hour period. That's wife's preferences, so we don't camp out. We've camped out before, or we've gone for 2-3 days adventures, but we try to prefer to be on a one-day adventure. But Scott's just landing the drone here. So the drone is there obviously for video of what I'm doing, for the memories and for sharing, but it's also there for the reconnaissance like we just did. But So this mushing bar fits nicely. Now you can see it's kind of up in the air. You would say it's not really level with the ground now, and that's purposely because when we put the weight of the U-bars on here, it's going to lower down. And this has all been designed and calculated so we get the proper height for the dogs. The mushing bar also, by the way, this puts no weight on the dogs. As you see, it is cantilevered, so it supports itself. The bike frame is supporting it, and that'll keep all weight off the dogs, and it creates a spring-like effect if we go over a bump. And because the dog's harnesses, the tether points from the U-bars have built-in spring. They're spring-loaded, I call them, so there's never any tension on the dogs. And it's pretty cool. This design is proven. I've been doing this for 30 years, but I've been developing designs and ways to run dogs for, like I said, about 30 years now. I've been doing this way for the past 2 years plus, and it's proven. It's tried and true. You might have recognized this bike, by the way, what I call my, these are dog choppers, I call them, because they look like choppers, motorcycle choppers, just the way you sit in them. You might have seen it in white. I've got this bike in a couple colors because I really like it. The white one's tied up right now because the white van that we normally run is, we blew the motor. Basically, it's under warranty, but at about 60,000 miles, that's the kind of terrain we go on. It's a Mercedes Sprinter, so it's high end. I just couldn't handle Wolf Driver's way. And we're going to get ready and load the dogs up as the guys finish outfitting the bikes and doing any more surveillance, reconnaissance we might do, and get all the water spray systems, everything we got lined up for the run today. And hopefully that'll be in part 2. Hope you enjoyed this video, and please always feel free to ask any questions, comments, etc. wherever you're watching this. I check all my social media. I like to help others get involved because high energy breeds like Huskies just need that. Try it out. Yeah, this is, by the way, our latest design. We're using a Springer, which I'm going to try later. We did a variation of this. This is another way I pioneer stuff. So I get these ideas in my head from running dogs so long and learning more about them as they run. And we developed a new way using a Springer. So a Springer is basically attachment to a bicycle, not made to do exactly what I'm doing in this formation, but made to run a dog on the side of a bike. And the Springers have been around for many years. That's how I got involved with this over about 30 years ago with my first dog, Czar. Not Zorro, if you're familiar with me. Czar was my first Husky, and Zorro was named after Czar. So here come the U-bars. But the latest iteration, I'll take you over to that real quick because it's worthwhile mentioning. And I know, like I said, people are interested in getting involved with this kind of equipment because they have high energy breed dogs. So now that we've figured out this U-bar, or I should say this aluminum bar collar system, we can put these on here. And what this is going to do is let the dog, goes on and it tightens down. It's going to let the dogs use an X-back harness. So when they're in the U-bar, their mobility is purposely limited, their range. They're not going to get the range of a sled dog, and they're not going to get so that means the leverage. So they're not going to be able to pull to engage 100%. That's not the design of this. That's why this is dog moto sports. So they can actually be assisted. It's in some ways a glorified walk. Now, as it gets cooler, they do want to pull, and the harnesses are designed to let them pull. I use a couple different harnesses, some for resistance, some for pure pulling on this configuration. But with the latest configuration, showing that Springer that I was just showing with that collar that can fit on to this mushing bar, it will allow the dogs to wear an X-back harness and be tethered in 2 points. What they call a neckline, like they do on a regular sled dog team. Sometimes they'll put a neckline on the toe line, or, gotta be near me, sorry, or they'll put a neckline, connect the dogs together. And it's really to keep them from deviating too far from the center line, keeping them more uniform. And those Springers are designed, well, we have a neckline attachment point, and then we have the Springer for the X-back harness. So they will be able to get more range, more leverage, which means more speed and more pulling power. especially for the higher energy dogs like I have Nikita and Lola. And again, this equipment is, a lot of it's tried and true, as I mentioned, but that's kind of new. I've done similar configurations with success, but I'm streamlining it now and trying to make it as everyday usable as possible. So yeah, like a Swiss Army knife, there's a million ways to run the dogs. And again, I'm sharing this not for any kind of monetary purpose, just to give people ideas, because a lot of people have high energy breeds, and the Husky gets such a bad rap because they break out of their yards and they unfortunately will kill small animals, and they are just rip up the house. And a lot of times, a lot of Huskies are just hard to handle, and you can get their energy out in a familiar fashion, something that's instinctual to them, running, of course, pulling, etc., then you can really satisfy their psychological instincts and desires. So that's how I do it here in Wolf Driver Land, and I want to share that so others can do that. And a lot of this equipment, almost anyone can build. Now, these U-bars and some of this, some of it will require some special fabrication, which a fabricator can do, and we do it ourselves because Crispy's got the knowledge, and we have the tools to do it. But from what I post, others will be able to do it. And I'm always taking questions and answering to the best of my ability to help others get involved. So I'm going to get to the dogs now, and the dogs are always cool in an air-conditioned van and fans in there as well for extra coolness. We're loving life here in Wolf Driver Land. This is how we do it. And Wolf Driver signing off. Hope you enjoyed this video.